Today I'll be working on the second part of my July setup, and here I'm just showing what I have worked on the first one. And in the first setup, if you have watched the video, I will link it up in the cards. I have set up the cover page and the habits and mood trackers, and the theme for July is heavily influenced by country Denmark. And like I mentioned in my previous video, I will be visiting Denmark next month, or rather in the month of July, and since I'm recording it in June, so I say next month. But by the time this video is out, I will actually complete my trip and will probably be back in Dublin. But for this particular setup, what I'm going to do is set up my content planner calendar and also the daily pages log. I really enjoyed filling up my daily pages log, and this is the second time that I'm actually going to put it up in my journal. But it has been a very rewarding experience for me in June, and I will like to continue. So for the content planner, I am going to set up like a typical calendar, and here I will write down all the contents that I will be scheduling for the month of July. Generally, I have one or two broad content or ideas that I would like to do on a monthly basis. One of them is obviously the setting up of the monthly pages, and any ideas or themes that will come during this whole organization period. Carrying forward from the previous pages, I have set up the doodles all around this spread, and I'm going to use the similar color palette that I have used in the previous pages so that there is some cohesivity in the pages that I'm going to do. I really like these tiny houses. Well, they are not actually tiny. Obviously in real life they are really big. They are mostly 5 to 6 stories, and depending on the area, you are given permission to build the house as tall as the government actually allows. In Ireland, there is a law that you cannot build beyond certain stories. I believe it is 10-story. So we don't really have really high rise buildings over here. So I can imagine it would be similar in Denmark as well, because most of the European nations have the old world charm, and they like to preserve the old houses. And even if you want to demolish the old house because it is rotten down and it needs to be fixed, you need some special permissions for doing all the renovations that you would want to do. So yeah, these houses, they look tiny on my journal and they are very cute, but in person they are beautiful, gorgeous old buildings with a lot of character. The doodles that I have used in this setup are mostly to represent all Danish characters in the journal, like the windmill, the Danish pastry, the sailing boats, and they also have lovely autumn leaves during autumn and winter. But like I mentioned, we do have friends from the southern hemisphere who are experiencing winter at the moment, so I wanted to be a little cohesive and also relevant to everyone in the world. So if you want to use this theme for winter and autumn, this will be perfect to set it up, and it looks very cozy. moving on to the final page of this setup, I will be doing the daily pages log. I really enjoy filling up this page. I do try to read every day, though I don't read more than 30 or 40 pages. Sometimes I will cross 50 pages in a day, but I like to be consistent. I believe consistency is more important than the quantity, right? So I prefer reading right before I go to sleep, or sometimes in the afternoon when I feel very lazy or lethargic and I just want to get that 15-20 minutes power nap. So sometimes I like to read before I take the 15 minutes power nap, and this really helps in raking up my daily pages count. I'm just going to fill up the negative space with simple leaf doodles. I feel that if I use too much, this page is going to look overwhelming, and I don't want the page to be overwhelming. So I'm going to use these simple leaf doodles and color them up. Be very interested to know what kind of book you're reading or which is your favorite genre. If you have any suggestion or recommendation, please leave a comment below. I am always out for new writers and authors, and I am very explorative in that manner. The only genre that I don't like is the horror one. It's just I have a little big of an imaginative brain, so when I go to sleep I get nightmares, which is not fun for me. So apart from the horror genre, I am up for any other genre. So even if it is the thriller or the murder mysteries, I am okay with that. So if you have any suggestions, please leave a comment below. On the left hand side, initially I thought of drawing a tree, and from the tree there was all these falling leaves, but I realized that I have not used any tree doodles in the previous pages, so if I was going to make a tree doodle here, it would just stand out like a sore thumb. So I just decided to put the leaves, so it's out in your imagination that there is a tree nearby and you're getting all these pretty colorful leaves from there. So that was the idea behind it, and as you can see, this is a very simple doodle, and it can easily fill up the page and make it look very pretty. So if you have an empty page that you would like to fill up but you don't want to wreck your hand while making all these tiny doodles, this is something that you can do because it's very easy, it's very simple. It will hardly take you 5 minutes to fill up the entire page, and then you can fill it up with all the rainbow pretty colors that you want. Finally, I will be using the pink carmine Faber-Castell marker to do folk calligraphy. I really like how Riley Autumn does her calligraphy on her journals, and this is inspired by her journals. Well friends, we have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you have enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to my channel. But before we wrap up, I want to show you the entire July setup. I have enjoyed it so much. It's a very simple doodle setup that I have done, and I hope you will be inspired by this, and I would like to see if you do some recreation. Please tag me on Instagram or on TikTok, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.